Let's talk about one at a time. The first is this major virus outbreak in New York City and other parts of America. It's not a new virus, it's an old virus.
This is why you should not say your children vote for my bill.
Oh, I'm very excited, Shelby. We'll get there. Anyone know what the virus is? It's this virus right here. It is called measles. Now, smallpox should be a lot worse. Measles, in general, is not a disease we've worried about in America for a long time. It is highly contagious. It is airborne, which is the worst kind of disease because you can just breathe it and other people catch it. But I am almost completely confident that none of you in this room have anything to worry about for what reason? Yeah, because we have mostly solved this through vaccinations. And I know that you all had your vaccines. How do I know that? Because you're here in class. Public school.
At the school that's not vaccinated.
It's true. You do not have to be vaccinated to be here. You can be exempt for religious. No. But we do have that ability to be exempt for religious reasons. This is the measles virus right here, which, as I said, is very dangerous if you catch it. But you all got vaccinated for it in the very first year of your life. And New York City says this outbreak is so big that they will begin fining people $1,000 for not getting the measles vaccine if they have not gotten it already, which obviously is a pretty big deal. And part of that question is, can the government force you to take injections? You know, does the government have the ability to say you must take this vaccine even if it's good for you? It's a good part of the debate, I'm sure, that we'll have on Shelby's bill here today. But the problem is that measles, which was basically eradicated in the U.S. by the year 2000, has suddenly seen a big spike upwards ever since 2014. How is that possible that a disease which is considered one of the most deadly preventable diseases in America, preventable meaning that you can just cure it by getting the vaccination, why is this suddenly a thing? Immigration is part of it because if immigrants are coming from other countries that do not require the measles vaccine, that is definitely a part of it. And the other part is what's known as the anti-vax movement. Vaccines in general, which have been around in America for 70, 80 years, there's a large anti-vax movement which has become, in the last 5 or 6 years, more and more prevalent. And those people, their kids are the ones who are not vaccinated. Now, this has all begun because people who are worried about vaccinations are scared of what? The vaccines cause autism. And that idea that vaccinations cause autism in young children comes from a single study. A study done in 1998 by this guy right here, Dr. Andrew Wakefield. Wakefield had one study. This is all comes down to one study. A single study which said that rises in vaccinations have led to rises in autism here in the U.S. And that study became the beginning of the whole anti-vax movement. The problem is that study, turns out, was based on really crappy science. And it isn't true, and there's no data at all that says that there's any relationship between the two. On top of that, the study itself was so bad that Dr. Andrew Wakefield had his medical license removed because the study was so bad. So literally, the only study that has ever proven that has been disavowed, and the guy himself lost his license, but it hasn't stopped the actual movement. We see more and more Americans who say that vaccinations, I'm not giving my kid for that reason. So it's a really big issue. And I get it. I understand the fear because I'm a parent, and the first time you take your little baby blob of happiness and joy, and at the age of like 3 months, stick them full of needles and chemicals, it's just natural to be worried that what you're doing might have side effects. But there is no study that has ever shown negative effects from these vaccines. So remember that when you yourselves become young parents, hopefully many years from now. Okay? Our second story for you is about wind power. Wind power came up in the news last week because, as we see in general, we've seen more like movement towards renewable energy in this country. Wind power is in general very useful. It's no pollution and it's free. There's all these great benefits to it. But one person in America is not a big fan of wind power. It is birds. Well, birds, I suppose, would be. I was talking about a human being. The person I'm talking about is Donald Trump. We talked about it last week in a conference. Now, Trump said many things in the same conference about wind power, but the first one was this quote right here, is that some of these windmills are killing fields for what animal? Birds. Birds. Basically saying that killing all of these birds by flying into windmills, there is no evidence to show that this is true. And then, in fact, even if a few birds do die from windmills, it's possible. If it's late at night and it's dark, maybe the bird flies into it. I guess it's a thing that can happen. But birds are killed in far larger numbers by fossil fuel development. It destroys the environment. Coal and gasoline kill way more birds as a result. But it also led to this incredible quote right here, which Donald Trump said about the downfall of wind power. And basically what Trump is saying in this quote right here is that if the problem with wind power is that if the wind stops blowing one day, you lose all of your electricity. I can't watch TV because the wind isn't blowing. That's not how wind power works. So we're on the same page. It's generated by windmills, but it's stored in a battery. Like, you keep the energy forever. It's not like it's not a windy day, I don't get to use power. That is not a thing. That's not how it works. And he also said my favorite quote of the whole press conference, which was this quote right here. They say the noise causes cancer. So we were all on the same page. Noise does not cause cancer. There is no noise, not even that, which causes cancer. Humans, so no, I don't know who the they is, there's no evidence to prove this is true. That's not a thing.
He's like an actual
He is looking more orange these days, right? We can see though, the problem in America is that this renewable energy is still a very small fraction of what we actually use. That's part of this idea. If we want to prevent climate change, this number here has to become a much bigger slice of your pie. All right? All right. Third and final story, I think the biggest one is about this lady right here. This is Kirstjen Nielsen, who is the Secretary of Homeland Security. She's in charge of making sure America is safe. And surprisingly, out of nowhere yesterday, what did she do? She resigned. She resigned her post. This is not typical. When you are a big honcho, like you're in the cabinet, like this lady, your resignation usually takes weeks or months. They got to find someone else to fill the position. So when the resignation happened in a single day, in fact, almost everyone found out via Donald Trump's Twitter, in which he said she's stepping down, thanks for her service. This leads us to believe that she did not actually quit, but what happened? She got fired. Trump brought her into the office and said, either you quit today or you are fired. Effectively, that's the same thing. Now, on top of this, on the same day, it was yesterday, he also fired the head of the Secret Service, and he fired multiple other people in Homeland Security. Okay. What? Okay, yes. Accurate. So the thing is that all of these tend to say that we are having some kind of big shakeup about immigration in this country. I think we're going to see a change in immigration policy happening here soon. And the reason for this is that Nielsen became famous for refusing to issue one of Donald Trump's orders. Probably the most controversial thing that he ever did in the last 2 years as president. What I'm talking about is how it has to do with immigrant detention at the border. Now, if you get caught as an illegal immigrant crossing from Mexico to the U.S., you go into these detention centers, basically these giant cages where we keep you until you go to trial. We find out, did you really cross the border illegally? Do you have your documentation? If not, we ship you back. And these places are becoming quite large. There's like 19,000 people right now who are being held, awaiting trial. They got caught, but they haven't been convicted guilty yet. And the problem about that, that's typical, by the way. We've been doing this for decades. But the new part of this is the fact that most of the migrants who come over are coming over as families. It's men and women and their children also. And this leads us to the big Donald Trump issue. Because last year, for about 3 months, he issued what was called a family separation policy. That meant that if you traveled illegally across the border, parents and kids were separated from each other. He took the children of these migrants and just put them in different buildings entirely. No other country in the world does this. No other country separates parents from kids when they cross at the border. So this was a very controversial move when Donald Trump first did it. On top of that, that also meant there were pictures that would emerge over the next couple of days of little kids being kept in cages away from their families. Now, a lot of people on both sides, Democrats, Republicans, were not happy with this. There was a huge furor about it, and a lot of people, eventually a judge said, this is illegal, Donald Trump, you can't do this, and the policy stopped. But the fact that Nielsen got fired yesterday makes me think, my prediction is that we're moving back to this in the next couple of months. Probably Trump is trying to move again towards this idea of separating kids and adults from each other. Yeah, true.
Didn't Trump fire the first head of, what was it, Secret Service?
That was the FBI.
Oh.
So yeah, he's fired a bunch of people, but yeah, that was the FBI and now it's Secret Service. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be that for today. Yeah.